Hey there, thanks so much for checking out this video from Jobseeker.pro. How to get job interviews even when it's very competitive. You can check the guide at jobseeker.pro/free as well. So that way you can use that as the reference after the video. The question is, how do you get an interview when dozens or hundreds of people have applied to the same job, right? It's a big problem. Okay. How do you do that? Dive into this video. I'm going to cover that step by step. So a little bit about me real quickly. I lost my job in 2016 and I basically started leveraging my sales strategies that I taught in the sales world. I used those on the job search and it really worked. And then again in 2020, the pandemic, I was laid off and I used them again. I enhanced this. I now help people become extremely competitive and speed up their job search. And you can not only check out more of our guides at jobseeker.pro/free, but you can check out a live webinar that I have recorded over at jobseeker.pro/fast. But let's dive into strategy number one. Apply to a job and reach out to an executive. Now, listen, if you're applying to 40 jobs per day, which I recommend, by the way, you don't have time to probably reach out in every case to an executive, right? But 7 or 8 of them that are really premium that you know you're a great fit for, take the time and do this. Reach out to the executive on LinkedIn. This is an example of one that worked for me. And I have found this has an up to 50% success rate, which is pretty outstanding. If you knew that every other time that you did something, it was going to work, you probably would do it. That's what I did here. So I reached out to Marjorie at this particular company. This was Hacker One. She was the senior vice president of sales. And after I applied, I reached out and I wrote her a LinkedIn message here and I got the interview, which was a incredibly hard to get an interview at that company, especially during the pandemic with so much demand out there for people who need a job. So that's what you do is you apply to a job and then reach out to an executive. It's not a bad idea to use a paid LinkedIn version during your job search because it allows you to do in-mail direct messages. Okay. Send them a LinkedIn connection request as well. That's another way of reaching out. So either a direct message via in-mail or there's a little message text available in a connection request. Write a note telling them you applied for the job, ask for help to get an interview, share maybe a work success story, 3 to 4 ways you'd make a difference, like I did right here. And you'll find that they often will, because you showed that hustle, they'll often help you at least get that interview with the recruiter, the screening interview, which is all we're asking for. All we're asking for is a chance. Send your resume, cover letter, examples of your work when possible. If you do use this top option here, which is the in-mail direct messages, you have the option to attach files like your resume, cover letter, and things like that. Okay. So that is a really good option. You can increase your chances as well if you can find their email address and send them a corresponding email. So oftentimes I would send them an email and do this move here on LinkedIn, both. And then even a bonus if you leave them a voicemail. And you can always call the company's main number and use the operator or use the voice service tree to punch in their name and then it'll connect you to their line. You can leave them a nice voicemail as well. Okay. So we're trying to increase our chances and breaking through the noise. And these 2 or 3 methods are going to really help you. There are a bunch of different contact services out there like Uplead that have a certain number of free credits where you can look up email addresses for people and even phone numbers for that matter. So check that out. Number two, strategy number two, leverage someone you know at the company. So when you go to the company's homepage on LinkedIn, you automatically see what connections that you actually have that are there. You get to see immediately who can maybe help you. When you see a job opening, go visit the company page on LinkedIn. LinkedIn will automatically tell you if you have any connections at the company. If you do have connections at that company, reach out to them, ask for their help, and see if they will refer you for that job rather than having you apply online, right? Because a reference from an internal employee is going to be taken more seriously than just someone who applies on the web. So try to use the internal referral process whenever you can as your first choice if you have someone that is at that company. This will really help you get noticed, help you get the interview, and they can also push for you behind the scenes. In fact, they often will get a cash reward by referring someone as a candidate. So your incentives are in line. They probably want to help you because they know you a bit, but then they also have the cash opportunity in many cases. Number three, use special business ideas and insights to get an interview. This is an example of some special business insights I did when I was interviewing with support.com. I didn't know anyone there, but I really liked the job. So I spent a bunch of time studying the company and I came up with some ideas and I sent them to them. And you can see I got a response here from the CEO and he fast tracked me for the interview. So study the company, come up with 3 to 4 creative business ideas related to the job that you are going to be applying for or that you have applied for. Write them up in a short format. Send the business insights to the CEO of the company or the highest level executives that you can find. And what I'm saying here in these comments is it's good to send it to CEO and one other person. And of course, spreading your opportunities out and giving yourself 2 chances for a response is a really good idea. Tell them that you applied for the job, ask for their help to get an interview. And also, you can get that email address from Uplead again or other resources as well on the internet. It's maybe even worth buying a few credits from one of those services if you need to. So you have a bucket of credits that you can use for outreach during your job search. It's worth it to have those. You can also, by the way, oftentimes figure out their email address by going to email dash checker, checker, email dash checker.net. And if you try first dot last name at, domainname.com and see if that's a valid email, then you can send it to that email address. So that's what you do is you want to use custom insights and reach out to the company with special ideas and special insights and use that to get your foot in the door. And I have examples of this at jobseeker.pro/fast. And remember, if you want the PDF of this guide and my other 3 or 4 guides that I have, those are all at jobseeker.pro/free. This is a few hours of work. This particular one that I did was 3 or 4 hours of work. I don't want to scare you away with that. But if I told you that for this high paying, very strategic job that I really wanted, that I went from being a nobody to having the CEO send me this kind of email where he said, Brian, I appreciate the trace and follow up. I will share your email and thoughts with our HR team and someone will get back to you. Thanks again for sharing your insights. I mean, that's solid gold, right? So is that worth 3 or 4 hours of my time? Absolutely. And then I ended up with the CMO and with the CFO and all kinds of people in that process. And I was fast tracked as the number 1 candidate. So if you knew that a decent amount of the time that you did this kind of work, these special insights, and you reached out, if you knew that that would fast track you for the job that you really wanted, I think you might say that was really worth it, right? And all of my strategies are involving a little bit of doing something special, a little bit extra, a little bit of hard work, a little bit of focus, a little bit of creativity, a little bit of thinking outside the box. Okay. So I'm going to push you a little bit in some of my strategies, but you're going to get results like this if you do it. Okay. Next step is to, of course, check out my Fast Start webinar at jobseeker.pro/fast. And if you want, you can get the PDF version of this at jobseeker.pro/free as well as some other ones. Please do like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. I don't have a lot of followers right now. And so people don't even realize the quality that I'm bringing to this just because I look like a small channel. When in fact, I've got probably over 25 years of sales overall that I'm applying to help you guys out. So thanks for helping me out as well. Hey, by the way, I forgot to have my email address on here. Feel free to email me anytime, Brian at jobseeker.pro. It'd be fun to hear from you. Hope you have a great job search, good success, and hope it's faster and better than you can possibly imagine. Good luck and God bless.